Michael. Came second to him in the Olympics, which was great. But you know, he was in a different league.
There's a famous story here in the States of one of our greatest ever baseball players named Babe Ruth. And Babe, famous story of telling little Johnny that he's going to point his back and knock a home run because Johnny's in the hospital dying. Whether that really happened, he did. Sports writers claim as he's warming up, kind of does this with his bat, lobo, he hits a home run. So it's legendary. Well, that's a great story. But you think what Michael Johnson did. Michael Johnson told the whole world. Babe Ruth told one kid. Michael tells the whole world, if this schedule's changed, I'll win these two events. And then he has to go off and say, I'll do something special.
Part one of the double was complete. Johnson was halfway to legend. But there was a snag. The 200-meter final was less than 2 hours after the semi-final, and the athletes were ordered to wait in the stadium.
And I said, there's no way that's a rule. That's a convenience. We're not doing it. And they said, you got to do it. So I just told Michael, I said, Michael, when that semi's over and they start leading you through, you just head straight. I'll be there at the door. And I had a cab waiting. And we went, they turned one way and we turned another, and we were out of the stadium in that cab. We went right over to the warm-up track. And I said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna do the exact warm-up that we've always done, except we're gonna cut it in half.
At that point, I mean, training was not the issue. It was just execution of the race. And you have to keep pushing the boundaries to do something that has never been done before. You've got to push it.
It was dark over there. I think there was one other soul over there. I can't remember who it was, as we were running, and we just went through it. And I kept watching my watch, and I had the cab just wait.
And at the same time as you're doing those things to try to run the fastest, race that's ever been run at that distance, you also have to, keep in mind that there's 7 other people in the race, so you got to win the race as well.
And so I knew exactly how much time we had, and we jumped in it and whipped over, and he got into that room before they called him out.
The world was watching. The sense of occasion was unforgettable.
It was electrifying. I've heard of these things, reading books about there's magic, it may be a rock concert or a presidential inauguration where you feel the electricity. I felt electricity in that stadium. When they brought those out, of course, Michael being an American and all the anticipation, are we going to see history?
I remember being in Atlanta and walking out there with Michael Johnson and thinking, wow, these people are going to be really disappointed if I beat him tonight.
I was in the best shape of my life at that point, and so it was, I was extremely fortunate to have that opportunity.
With the pressure of an expectant nation on his shoulders, Johnson smashed his own world record in front of a frenzied Atlanta crowd.
And it was like 1,000 fireflies. The state was just the cameras were going off. He gets such a fast start that he literally almost falls the third step out.
Up until Michael passed me at 100 meters and that 200 meters, I thought I was winning because I couldn't see him, I was on the outside. But we know how that ended.
Well, lo and behold, I'm watching the screen, I'm watching him, and it's this, and I'm just thrilled that he won. And everybody said, "Look at the time, look." And I look, and it still doesn't dawn on me. I think 1932. And I'm waiting for him to change it. And I said, he's done it.
It was Michael's Olympics, in the same way that, you could point to Phelps and Bolt for Beijing. This was Michael's Olympics.
I was just extremely fortunate that the timing was right, that when the Olympics were held in 1996, in Atlanta, it was at the middle of my career and at the pinnacle of my career.
Michael skipped the 19.5 and 19.4, went down to 19.3 on his 8th race, which was still, to me, remarkable. So yeah, to me that's a much, much better story than the Babe of predicting something and delivering. I don't know anybody's ever done that.
I remember watching Michael. That's my only memory really of the Olympics, was really just the world record in his gold shoes.
That was serious. And I think most people thought that would stay for a long time. And then Usain Bolt took it. The 400-meter record of 43.18, I think will stay for a lot longer.
That time was set on a balmy night in Seville, Spain, at the 1999 World Championships. Age 31, Michael Johnson finally broke Butch Reynolds' 11-year-old world record. His margin of victory showed just how far ahead of his rivals Johnson was. And with this victory, he'd achieved all there was to achieve.
When I broke the world record in the 400 in 1999, I was the first person to become world champion and Olympic gold medalist at 200 and 400. But once I broke the 400, that was the last thing for me. No one had ever repeated as Olympic champion at 400, so that was my next goal. And I decided then, once I do that, then I'll move on and I'll retire.
Well, the Sydney Games, people don't realize that wasn't a given. It was a given as far as I'm concerned, Michael, but you know, when you're getting at Michael's age and you've got to do something never been done, there's a reason it never had been done before.
At our U.S. Olympic trials, after I'd already made the team in the 400 and trying to make the team in the 200, I got injured. So I didn't have any preparation races between the trials and the games. I just had to basically rehab and try to maintain my conditioning and go into 2000, you know, in the best situation. And it was really, at that time, the only way I think I won that race was just off of the experience, because I wasn't in the best shape of my life at that point, by no stretch.
One of the memorable moments was when Mike actually turned back and realized that I actually finished third and came back to give me a hug. And I think it was based on the fact that I was the second person in the camp in the history that won an individual medal. So he was happy for me, and he was also happy for Coach Hart.
Everyone wants to go out on the top. You go out with an Olympic gold medal, and thank you very much.
Johnson picked up yet another gold in the 4x400 metre relay. But when his teammates failed drugs tests, he chose to return what he saw was a tainted gold.
I put the effort in to be a 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and we won. I won 5 gold medals, and we would have won that medal, you know, because, like I said, we have so many people that we could have had on that team that were clean.
Michael's longevity is going to be very difficult for anybody ever to do what he did. Going from 1990 all the way to 2000, 10 years of being the man.
If you're going to rank us all, there's a few athletes who sit on in a space that is a very, very special space. And to access that space, you have to have won multiple gold medals, you have to have set world records, and more importantly than anything else, you have to have had a long, sustainable professional career. And there aren't a lot of people you can put up there.
The consistency that he had, it shows that when you work hard, that anybody can do what they want to do. And he set his heart to certain things, saying that he was going to break the world records, and he did it.
Michael was just, I smile when I talk about him, just an amazing athlete. Real privilege to be around at the same time as him.
Once I got the chance to know him, I really wanted to take a page out of his book, because when it comes to dedication and focus and commitment, and he is the highest you can ever get, and Michael Johnson is definitely the epitome of all of that.
For most people, though, Michael Johnson, with his golden shoes, will forever be linked with that magical night in Atlanta when he rewrote the record books and entered Olympic immortality.